What's going on, you guys? My name is Rage, and we are back today with a quick update video here in regards to Dark Dimension 7 and how the heaviest whales and krakens right now are doing. Now that the game has amassed about a week for everyone to participate in this event, we got some really meaningful information as per the leaderboards here. So I'm really thankful that this is obviously a great way to track how everyone's doing, but as well the top players in the game and where they're at. As you guys can see, big shout out to Beta Ray Bill, really showing us how it's done right now, because with each successful node that he completes, we can actually see some of the actual highest number of attacks in terms of the damage done on these nodes. So it's giving us a lot of insight, but as well reinforcing the concept of resource management, because Beta Ray Bill is doing an exceptional job managing the characters that he's brought in, but as well obviously knowing that it's about pace, right? Just because you can have a strong start doesn't necessarily mean you can progress. If I recall correctly, I think Platypus and Fate's Fury was actually well ahead of Beta Ray at the very beginning, but because of how Beta built up his roster and how he is planning with each of the nodes following, it's no surprise to me that he is essentially doubled everyone's progression now. So what am I referring to, guys? Let me just show you kind of what I'm referring to in terms of the actual recorded attacks here. So if you go to any of the nodes, and this is the really cool thing about these Dark Dimension previews, even before you can dive in, is that you can get a sense already of how they have attacked the nodes and which ones did the most damage in terms of the team synergy. So let's just take a look at node 1, for example. You hit the little bar chart there, and it gives you a sense of how Platypus did. He was able to almost one-shot this node at 442 million with this team. Starlight did 397, Fate's Fury, Madrid, so forth, right? So obviously, what's really surprising and awesome to see is Beta didn't actually have the highest damage, but as you guys know from the top leaderboards here, he's more than doubled many of these players' progression because he's managed his resources extremely effectively. And I think a large part in the fact is that he didn't fall for the potential traps that you may want to start strong, and then you may overload all your resources that you don't need, right? So for example, if we just look at Platypus and Starlight, for example, they do some of the highest damage in terms of this node, right? Bring in Apocalypse, Super Scroll, Val, Black Knight, and then Beta. If you take a look at his team, right? He brought in some relatively average costing characters, but he also brought in a key character like Robbie Reyes, who's needed in the next section. And then you also have Nightcrawler and Black Knight, who can also be used in the section following that. So he's preparing himself really for the long haul here, right? It's not just about that initial section, but utilizing the synergy of these characters and how they're going to be using, getting value subsequent to these nodes. Let me show you another one here. Mission 2, and once again, no surprise here, you can see Fate's Fury, Starlight, Madrid, Platypus, all ranking very top here, because you can see they brought in characters like Dr. Doom, Apocalypse, Super Scroll, some of the heaviest hitters. And once again, let's go to the very bottom here, and Beta getting it done with a very modest team. He doesn't have any of the heavy hitters like Apocalypse and Super Scroll here, but still able to get the consistency. Mind you, it may have taken him more attacks, but we have to think about the big picture in terms of pacing, right? It's always about resource management and how you can bring up those certain characters that you need, and knowing that it's not just about a strong start, but it's about continuing that pace, because it is a marathon and not a sprint. And then finally, this is the most interesting one as well. Again, we see Fate, Madrid, as well as Platypus, all ranking very high up, and this is where Beta did have to kind of invest into Super Scroll, because he probably was having issues here, so then he brought in Super Scroll here to get the job done. Regardless though, you can see he's the only player that hasn't used both the combinations of Apocalypse and Super Scroll for some of the highest damage, and it doesn't even matter because this is just giving us a sense of what teams do work anyways. And finally, we can take a look at what works in City, guys. So this is awesome. This is kind of the insight I was looking for from Beta. And again, he almost the total damage or HP, I guess, for Mission 4 being the first node here for City is about 124 million. And then you can see Beta's the only one that's ranked in here because he's the only one that's finished this node. And this is a great team right here. Firestar, we got Lizard, we got Robbie Reyes with Miss Marvel, Hardlight, and Vulture. Finally getting some insight of and what teams actually work in City. Now, mind you, I don't recommend building these teams and characters up just yet, just because we get this preview, because you never know what's going to be around the horizon in terms of the characters. But again, it gives us more information than we had yesterday, and beta's tracking very, very well to be the first player to finish Dark Dimension 7, ultimately unlocking Mephisto. So it's just awesome to see. Let's continue along here. Mission 5 being the second node here for City Section. Same exact team, hitting 102 million out of the 157. So he's doing an exceptional job, and we already know kind of what's happening with the global, right? Yeah, you can see here, global section. He's started this one as well. He's brought in Nightcrawler from the first section, as well as Black Knight, and now he's brought in Forge with Quicksilver and Gambit. I mean, we're just getting some really, really cool insight here in terms of what's working. It's great to see that 3 members out of the 5 Extreme X-Men can still be used here, and he's getting a lot of value for that, especially with them being a raid team. Now, we don't see this yet happening for the second node of global, likely because it is a little bit trickier, and you can see there's more HP here compared to the previous node. And yeah, actually we're up against some pretty big heavy hitters, but once I assume it's gonna be probably pretty similar. But we already know from based on his previous attempts here that he's got access to Kang for the next node, as well as likely Val. So that's going to wrap up with Cosmic, and then with his legendary characters, and then finally in the Mythic, we know Super Skrull, and obviously Kestro is going to be a strong player, just because we've seen them already building those teams up. But yeah, awesome. Keep it up, Beta. We're all rooting for you. It's great to finally get some really meaningful information from this, but any day that we get another heads up on what to prepare for, the teams that work, is great. And the best thing about seeing how these teams and synergies work in Dark Dimension 7 is that we can apply what we learn here to Dark Dimension 6 or Dark Dimension 5, because typically they can work downward. What's successful in the future will also be successful in the previous Dark Dimensions. But yeah, awesome. We're rooting for you. Hopefully he can finish in the next week or two. He's making great pace here, and the demonstration of his excellent management resources combined with some of the strongest characters in the game. Do let me know anything in the comments below, guys. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.